Welcome, everybody. If you'd like, go ahead and put your information in the chat so that we know who you are and where you're from and what your role is. Really pleased to have you with us today. We've got some very good information and some awesome things to share so that you can do what you need to do and accomplish what you'd like to accomplish through the end of this year. So Sean, I know you've got our slide deck. If you don't mind throwing that up there for us.
Ed, you know everything. You even know more than Robert Hall because he wasn't there this Saturday. So we're going to call on you a lot, Ed.
Please don't. and hi, Robert.
Thank you very much.
Robert and I competed in a Rotary trivia contest on a cruise ship about 8 years ago with George Robertson Burnett. And
You remember that?
He eked out the win at the end.
I did it pretty well, didn't I?
You did. Absolutely.
It scared me because I was expected to do well.
Hey, Jeff, Ed's the one that had all the good questions in our class. Remember?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. So as you can see, this is our district leader DRFC Zoom. And this is something that they do every month. And we also have Foundation Matters meetings every month. And we try to give you all the skinny on things that are really important to know. So today we're going to share a few things. Let's see if I can move this slide. Here's our agenda. Oops, I went a little too far. Sorry, guys. Oh, good golly.
Maybe you should just let Sean do it for you.
Pressing too hard.
Oh,
So we've got some new information about old DDF that we're going to share with you that we did not share this past weekend that's new.
Yep.
Bruce is going to share that. We're going to talk about club goals, 1,500 per club, polio goals, Club Excellence Awards, what we need to do to end the year strong. I'm going to share some World Immunization Week resources because we really need to know and make a big deal about World Immunization Week, especially with all of the spotlight that there has been on getting vaccinated. So we want to talk about that. And then a little teaser about Williamsburg. And then we are going to have Jeff share some information about the GBNI and some things that are going on with that. So just to get started, I couldn't help but use this image. So I hope you guys all enjoyed it and made me laugh. We're going to let Bruce talk about DDF and the new information he has and answer some questions.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that new information. I'm going to talk about that in a second because we have 2 DG&Ds, and then Ed, you're a DRC, right? Is Ed still there?
And,
Yes, DRFC.
And Jan is a DRFC till July 1.
Yeah. The 2 Ed heard this, some of this, but the 2 DG&Ds kind of need to hear this, is that we have, like, for the DGs that just went to International Assembly, we actually have a list, I have it in front of me, on 34 of all the DGs that actually pledged their DDF 20% to polio. And at International Assembly, which you'll eventually go into, there's going to be a pledge form. And so that's going to be the first time RI, as usually the EPNCs will start talking to you about that. But out of all the DDF you get for the grants and stuff like that, we're asking for 20%. And the list that I have, I think, Jeff, what do we have? Only, one that didn't do it, and the pledge, and the rest of them did actually pledge?
Well, one did a partial pledge and one didn't pledge, but the one who didn't pledge, I understand their process is different, and I'm working with that district.
Right, and I'm working with another one that is gonna. I think we're gonna get some more money on. We talked to them, but it's real important that the DG&Ds kind of understand that when they go there, they kind of have the idea of what your budget's going to be on your foundation, and always include polio as part of that because they're going to ask you. And then when you're a DG and then you become July 1st, you become a DG, your DRFC and yourself will want to start thinking about the funding as it comes through, which normally is as late as, you know, I guess that is late August and early September or lately. I guess they've been funding it, and you kind of want to pay attention to that because we're going to be urging you to take that pledge and actually commit it. And I was hoping that there was a logo on here. I have a logo on the front of me that you can actually click the DRCs and the DGs can click on that and you can go straight onto that, pick the polio and do it online. And it's instantly, we find out about it, goes onto the polio reports right away. So that's something you as a DG&D are going to have to start thinking about on what's your budget. I know it's kind of early to think about your budget, but how is the current DG, how is the current DGE and DGN looking at their foundation funds, and how are they including polio in those? Later on, what we're going to be doing is Jeff's going to talk about the incentives for committing the polio DDF early, and early means in that January to September timeframe. And Jeff's going to talk about that a little later, right, Jeff?
Yep.
Yep. Now, this is something new that just came out, and Ed, I think you probably received this from Sarah. I didn't know about it, but Sarah from the foundation sent out an email that did not go to the EPNCs, but it's talking about using your 2020, 2021 DDF, old DDF before June 30th. So we're really talking to the current governors right now and the DRCs. They need to be aware of this. And they're doing something totally different that it's brand new. And Sarah asked if anybody had a problem understanding this to go ahead and get a hold of her at Share as a specialist, Sarah. But they are saying that it's important to complete the form for the DDF by June 30th, 2026, even, listen to this, even if you do not have any remaining 2020, 2021. So Jeff, Florida and Georgia and the islands, if you've gotten rid of all your DDF, like all of my Georgia's has gotten rid of the DDF, they still want you to go in and say 100% would maybe go to polio, or 50-50, 50% goes to polio, 50% goes to the World Fund or disaster response or the peace centers or endowment. And the reason they're doing it this year is totally, they hadn't thought about it before, but if you obligated prior year money under a grant primarily, not under polio, because the polio thing wouldn't be canceled. But if you were not approved and they used the grant at the last moment and wasn't approved or got canceled, now it shows back up in the 2020, 2021 as old age, and now they're going to take it and put it in the World Fund. But if you utilize it by percentage, saying 50% would go here and 50% go to polio, or 100% polio, anything that got canceled by a grant would actually go and credit polio. That's kind of how I'm pushing it, is to, if you have any grants that fell apart, you're not going to get it anyways. You may as well send it to polio. That is brand new. Ed,
Bruce,
were you aware? Were you aware of that?
Dave has a question. So
Yeah, Dave Rasso. Yeah, I can't see him.
Yeah, thank you, Bruce. And I'm so glad you brought this up because it's an area that I do not quite understand. And I'll tell you, just this week, I have been talking to a point of contact at RI, as well as my own district foundation chair who also works at the zone now. And
Is
I'm
this,
getting, that's Hamza.
are you 6920?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
that Ann is your DRC. Yeah, I believe.
yes. And
Mhm.
and I've been talking to Hamza mainly because he helped me set this
Sure.
global grant up a
Hmm.
year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Hmm.
And and so we have a global grant. It's in its second year. It was fully funded and completed the first year. This year, uh, the budget on it increased quite a bit, and we have not received enough DDF, primarily DDF, to fully fund it.
Yep.
And so I was being told by one person that I couldn't go out and look for more DDF because it was too late. And I was told by another person, both of these people I respect highly, that here are 7 districts that had $100,000 in DDF for 2020 and 2021 that had not been spent, and that I should go and contact them. So I'm a
Mhm.
little confused, and
Well, that's actually a very good point, because if you're going to if you're going to keep the same year money, another district can invest into it. I did it all the time. I mean, I had one grant that we did 27 districts. So yeah, you can. I don't see why you couldn't do that.
so what you're basically saying is the money has until June 30th to be spent on a global grant. If I
It
can
it
suggest
has
to
to
them,
be, yeah, it according to this sheet right here, it has to be committed by that
or
time, and
committed, yeah.
they would like it committed by percentage if you can, because if it truly did fall apart again, then you would want to be able to direct that money where you want. So in this particular case, what you could do is if it didn't work out with all the districts trying to help you fund that, you can say 100% goes to polio. So when it gets canceled, it automatically goes into the polio and automatically will show up in your CDR reports and all the polio reports for district.
Okay,
See,
well,
that's
thank
something
you.
we've never talked about before is taking grant money that's for a plan and be able to convert it over to polio money. We've never even thought about that before.
That's
And
true.
I I am naive enough to ask this question. How does our commitment to polio affect our overall foundation giving? And I'm sorry if this is a really basic or nonsensical question, but I don't really understand the mechanism here that we are going through.
I'm trying to figure out
I
what.
think what he's asking, Bruce, there's 2 pots of money your district gives. You give DDF and you give individual cash.
Are you talking about giving from the district to the clubs?
No, no, no. Going to TRF, there's 2 pots of money. There's the DDF that you give. We're trying to get at least 20%. And then there's the individual cash that members donate.
Hey,
Right.
Jeff, I'm even confused. I think what he's thinking is there's one set of DDF money come from the foundation and they split it in half. You know, half of it goes
Right.
over to the grants and the other half goes to global. Is that what you're talking about?
Is that how it's done in each district?
Yeah, yeah. When you all the money that goes into the annual fund 3 years later comes back to you.
I understand
And
that.
then that split, they'll tell you how much it is on each side, less what there's a few percent. They got an admin charge in there now or something. And that split, and then that split is designated for your your grants, your local grants. I hate to say local grants because you can go overseas with that money, but they're DDF grants. Now, if not all of those grants, those DDFs are funded and utilized and they get canceled and you have remaining funds, you can go in during the current year before June 30th and reobligate those if you get approval with RI or you can let it roll over and it'll go back over to your global side and you can commit it for polio.
Hey, let me ask you this, Bruce. Can you send, we talked about this, an email? This is a very complex deal, it sounds like to me. It's a great question, Dave. Can you send somebody to every DG and every DRSC?
Okay, I said what?
See if you got questions back. I mean, this is pretty critical. Dave, the other thing, I'm in a district where the DG next year, yeah, said at a meeting that giving to polio is killing his annual fund giving. And, I'm in a district where one guy gives a $500,000 to $1 million. Well, but when you look at the participation rate, annual fund is way ahead of polio. So I don't think if somebody says it'll hurt my giving to annual fund, I've been involved in this, I won't tell you how long. I've never
Yeah,
seen
I
both of
think
them go up together.
yeah,
I'm hoping up together.
yeah, Dave needs to know that if the people that give to the polio side, it still goes for their major donor award.
Yes.
But you're thinking that the annual fund for like Paul Harris Society or that kind of stuff is separate. I have a question for Ed. Ed, you're the only DRC on here.
Well, Jan's on here too.
Oh, Jan, are you a DRC?
Yes.
Oh, good. I wanted to ask you guys a question because Sarah was pushing for percentages, but she did have a statement in here that the standard DDF transfer remains available if you want to use the dollar amount. It still states that. So you can still do it by dollar amount, but if you do it by dollar amount based on what they're saying and something cancels, well, I'd rather direct where it's going to go instead of the World Fund. And did both of you understand this letter as I said it? Because I just read it.
I wasn't aware of it until you just brought it up, to be
Is that
honest.
right? Yeah.
And it's interesting because I've considered only recently what would happen in the event of a grant getting canceled. And it kind of raises the question, and maybe now is not the time to ask or answer it, but is specific aged DDF assigned to specific grants at the times the drafts are created?
Yeah. Well, when each of those are by the governor year, that particular year, and so it sticks with that year all the way through, even if it goes 2 or 3 years. So yeah, it will show up. So what happened is any of the ones in 2018, 2019 that were available and got canceled all show up in the 2020, 2021. That they just put them all together. So you're absolutely right. There could
Well,
be older ones than that.
I understand that piece of it, but so the way that it works when the new year, any new year begins right now, we're
Mhm.
on a first in, first out. I'm sorry, last in, first out for the new money. And then once you've used all of your new money, you go to a first in, first out using your most aged or aged money. And
Yes.
so just for example, let's say we hadn't done anything for the last few years. This year that we're in, all of my grants are going to first use this year's DDF, and then any grants or additional polio transfers are going to come from my oldest.
Correct.
And so
Now,
my
let
question
me,
is, let's say something gets canceled after I've done that. Does each grant know whether it was this year's DDF? If they
yeah,
were all written this year, is it assigned this year's DDF versus the most aged?
no, it knows it by year. And remember, it will always fall into the oldest year. Even if the year's not shown on your available DDF district report, it'll still show up there. The money will show up there, and you go through grants, and it tells you what year it is. So yeah, you don't have a problem with that. But you are right with everything except for one thing. If you use your current money and expend it all, and then you're starting to use your 20, 21, 22, or 23 money, and that is fine to use it for grants, but you can't use it for polio. For polio, it's only the 2020, 2021 right now. Hopefully next year they'll say, okay, now let's do 2021, 2022. They haven't said that yet, but I'm hoping they will do that.
So let me ask you this,
Thank you.
Bruce. and Ed and Jan, DRCs especially, and then Hector,
And
what's your position?
Ivan is on there now too. Who's Ivan? You're a DRFC as well. Is that right? Yvonne.
Hector, what are you talking about?
Yvonne Fernandez, Hector
Oh,
Sanchez.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. If y'all could send something to Bruce next week, and he needs to get something out to all y'all. Y'all need to let your districts know. And if your district's not here, he'll get it to them. This is still very complex. And we got less than 3 months. So we got 3 months to go. And you'd think it'd all be, I understand everything. But I think this is too important to let it go. We got to move on kind of right now. But Ed, I think the questions you bring up
Oh,
are
good questions.
critical to get answered. Let me say that. So
Yeah.
if we can do that and move on. Who is next? Kim, is Jeff or I forgot.
Let's get the slides back if we could, Sean.
Yeah, Sean. Okay, Sean, I'll
While
ask.
that's coming up, if you don't mind, just a
You,
final
you
statement.
guys all got me
Go
off
ahead.
script, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah,
ahead.
Ed.
just a final statement to Bruce.
Yeah.
So I'm understanding this email that, again, I either haven't received or haven't read yet, is essentially just saying we want our default for any money that doesn't go to a grant to be either polio or some percentage polio World Fund, etc. If we did nothing, it would be World Fund. If we do something, it'll be however we direct it, an area of focus, polio, etc.
Yeah, they allow you Polio Plus, Disaster Response, Rotary Peace Centers, Endowment World Fund. But
Yeah.
on this call, it's only polio.
Understood. I got
No,
that.
and Ed's a good supporter of polio. Ed, I think your point, and this is what Robert's asking for, is that we need to get something out that's unbiased, even though Bruce will list polio first in his email.
I would too.
I think it's complicated enough that we need to
This did
take
go out,
Sarah's
though.
memo and then have an interpretation with that memo.
Great.
Bruce is going to call Sarah before
Yeah.
he sends that out.
Do that.
Well,
And we can send it all over the world too, Bruce. I mean,
Actually,
this is not
you
just
guys,
zone
this is
control.
actually the letter that explains it from Sarah, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, Bruce, is good with me. Okay, next slide. What are we doing here?
Next, we've got Jeff to talk about the club polio goals, 1,500
So-
per year, club excellence.
So really what I want to talk about, and I want to talk about this pretty rapidly, we've been really stressing the last several years the Club Excellence Award, $1,500 per club. And this is going to be a big deal for incoming foundation chair Jennifer Jones. What I noticed last year when I was going through stuff at the end of the year, we had a lot of clubs that maybe had $750 to $1,499, and they ended the year that way. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that every district is going and using that CDR report to see where your clubs are. If a club has given $100 to $200, they're not necessarily a target. But if they are in that range, and I call it that hotspot range between $750 and $1,499, we need to have a conversation to see if we can get that other $750 to $1. Because even if you have $1,499, you don't get the Club Excellence Award.
Mhm.
And this is really important, as I'm going to mention in several minutes. We're going to recognize the districts when we get to Williamsburg that did the best at motivating their districts, their clubs, to get over that $1,500 threshold. So we really want to stress that in this last quarter. Next slide.
One slide.
Sean, can we go next slide? Okay. All right. Real quickly, we talked about this when we were in Jacksonville this weekend. What next slide after that? I'm not touching it. One more slide.
Yeah.
Yeah. That after years of the UK supporting GPEI, this year they pulled the rug out. And Judith Dement, who is the vice chair of advocacy worldwide, was working really hard with the British government, and it kind of sideswiped her. Now, Kim has put a link that was in the Telegraph today, and I think that the British people are really incensed about this. And to make matters worse, there have been two cases of samples of polio in the UK simultaneous to them pulling the rug out. So I don't think it's the end of the story. I don't know how difficult it's going to be to undo this. I know Robert's involved with Mike McGovern and Judith and others discussing this because that represents a significant shortfall, and it's also one that was not anticipated. We have other shortfalls that have been anticipated. Next slide, please.
That's my slide.
Yep, Kim, I'm ready for you.
Can I ask a
okay.
quick question?
Dave's got a question. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, on the $1,500 per club, I have a club with 10 members, and I have a club with 60 members, and it just doesn't seem that would be fair to all concerned to have $1,500 for each club.
So Dave, the way this works, and I hear what you're saying. In fact, I've spoken at a lot of clubs that have 10 or 15 members, and I said, you need to do per capita giving. And because 1,500 is probably a threshold, it's never going to happen. But in particular, Jen wants clubs next year to give. You know, we need to identify 5 clubs in every district that have never given and get them to give. The one thing that's not going to impact on this Club Excellence Award, they don't have a per capita award. And, you know, that's an interesting thing for Robert Hall on this call to write down and keep in mind as we go forward. But right now, there's only a mechanism to recognize $1,500 clubs.
I want to say, because we did a polio fundraiser this year, I want to say that it's $100 per person to be a member of the Polio Society.
That it's dependent upon what your district defines, but in 34, pretty much every district has defined it at $100 per head.
Thank you.
Dave, let me say this. I announced this Polio Plus Society up to a bunch of clubs recently. Why I like it so much, I'm big into everybody participate, everybody be aware and be part of this. And we get finished, you can hold your hand up and say I was part of it. You don't have to give 1,000 or 10,000, whatever. And so I announced it in my clubs, about 75 members. We had 20 people only so far, not everybody, give $100. Well, 2 of them gave $500. And I said, well, did you mean to do this? And he said, well, yeah, I can do it or I want, don't I? Can I? I said, sure you can. So you'd be surprised, maybe you'd be surprised. Some will give more. But I think with the Polio Plus Society at $10 a month, if they want to do direct, anybody can do that. And so the smaller club is certainly a disadvantage. On the other hand, the 60-member club, they're not limited to 1,500 either. They can go way over that. But I do get your point, and I'll take this up with John Jeremy McGovern and Jennifer Jones. Thank you.
At our fundraiser, we were pushing membership in the Polio Society at $100 a year, which over perpetuity, that's quite a bit.
It is.
Yeah.
But Robert's point, Dave, is that if you have 15 members and they each give 100, now you cross that threshold because each member's doing their part.
I'm with you.
I want awareness. I mean, I want people to be excited about what we're doing. And that's why I like this so much.
The cool thing about the Polio Plus Society is, you know, anyone can give to it. So if you send them to Rotary Direct, endpolio.org/donate, you can make a memorial.
Yeah.
If someone important as you want to honor, if someone passes away, you can make a little gift in their honor. So there's a lot of ways you can use Rotary Direct with outside people and outside reasons that help you get to that 1,500. And the nice thing about it is all that money counts towards your club goal, and all the donors get credit for their giving when you go through Rotary Direct, which is nice.
Thanks, Kim.
Yeah, let me just say the other thing real quick. We need to move. That I don't have any puppy dogs or animals or anything like that. And we got this thing called the Kennel Club of the Polio Plus Society. You may be aware of it. I don't have any, but my grandson and my son and my other son, between them, have 4 dogs. I made them all members of the Kennel Club, which is just as important. It's $100 a piece. it goes credit to my club, not theirs. One's in Rotary. But it's fun. That's what this kennel club is, just fun. But it can help you get to the 1500. Hey, thanks. Great questions.
So the Kennel Club and the Polio Plus Society, you can see all of that information along with a bunch of polio information on the Polio Plus Society Facebook group. So you can go there and get all kinds of details and bone up on what the stats are and any current little happenings. So try to go there and make a note of that. But I wanted to talk to you about World Immunization Week. So there's basically 2 times throughout the year that we want to talk about polio pretty heavily. One of them is World Immunization Week, which is coming up 24th through the 30th of April. And there are a bunch of resources that you can access that will help you to spread the word about why does World Immunization Week matter. And I guess you could put it like this. Over the last 50 years, vaccines have saved 154 million lives, which equates to 6 lives a minute every day for 5 decades. That is so powerful. And vaccinations account for 40% of the infant survival improvement numbers. That's powerful. So more children than ever before live to see their first birthday and beyond than at any other time in our human history. And the measles vaccine alone, which is a tough one to talk about right now, but that accounts for 60% of the lives that have been saved. So this is powerful stuff to share with people. And basically, I guess you could say we're at a watershed moment in history, and we don't want to lose any hard-won gains and stomping out and keeping diseases that are preventable through vaccination, not in people's hands. So we want to really spread the word about World Immunization Week, the importance of what we're doing, and increase support during World Immunization Week. So there's a couple of sites. There's a WHO site that if you look up World Immunization Week, you're going to come up with 3 pretty powerful ones. You're going to get one from Rotary, one from the from WHO, and you're also going to get a couple of great videos on YouTube. So there is a video on YouTube that comes from our brand center. And essentially it says this. It says, in an effort to end polio, every single vaccination counts. National Immunization Days reach all children and educates parents. Outbreak response stops the spread of the polio virus, which we want, and routine immunizations protect children for their life. Cross-border immunizations protect children who are on the move, which is especially true in Afghanistan and Pakistan. So every vaccination helps safeguard a child's life, and it helps us get closer to having a world without polio, which is our goal, our number one goal. And together we can make a difference by supporting World Immunization Week and the fight to end polio by talking about this effort, this time, and to help spread the message throughout your districts and your clubs that we have the power to change children's lives. And the Polio Plus Society, the Kennel Club, giving DDF, all the ways that you can help support that is especially important. So if you go to the Rotary Brand Center, you're going to find thank you social media. You're going to find radio ads. You're going to find the video I just talked about, which if you watch it, it's really powerful. You're going to find all kinds of information that you can use, little social media graphics that are just really helpful in catching people's attention. So I encourage you to definitely go to the Brand Center and to pull that information and to make sure that you share it at your clubs, at your districts, and on your personal social. And go ahead too and follow the Polio Plus Society Facebook group. I think you'll find that you're going to get a lot of details fed to you, spoon-fed to you And that will be really nice for you to have for this effort. So with that, I think our last slide was going to be the discussion about GB&I. Oh, there we go. Sorry. So I have a teaser for you. I forgot about this. This is really important. There's a link on the screen which we can share with you. But basically, it talks about what we did in the past for our zone summit. So this is a picture from Pittsburgh, and we had a ton of people who were part of this effort. We did a polio walk, everyone dressed up in their polio clothes. As you can see, we had Dr. Salk's son, Peter, there. We had our president there. Of course, you can see Robert and Bruce and Jeff and I. We had tons of people here. All of the DGs and foundation people who gave money, gave their DDF early around the time of the summit were specially recognized. And that is going to happen again this year. We're also going to have a lot of different polio events and polio recognitions that's going to play a part. And last but not least, if you sign up for the summit before the 10th of this month, they will donate $26.50 to polio. So I think you probably all recognize $26.50 as the first gift that was made to the foundation, right? So this is something that we want to hopefully make happen and share out there and get all of you the recognition that you deserve for all your hard work.
Thanks. Yeah. Is that the last slide?
It is the last slide.
So,
Truly the last slide.
okay, if nobody else is coming on, are you coming on, Jeff, anymore?
Well, I was just going to reinforce the fact that Robert has been talking to John Padgett and Marshall Butler all day today to try and
They know who
get
John Padgett is.
John Padgett is the general chair for Williamsburg.
Yeah.
And they're trying to finalize what we're going to do to recognize district leadership on two things. One is transfer a DDF prior to Williamsburg, and the other is we're trying to develop a metric for $1,500 clubs. And those are the two most important things that we're looking to come out of the gate next year. But also what we want to do is we want to recognize the current DGs for their support of $1,500 clubs. So that ties into what I talked about earlier. And we're working with the EPNCs in 33 to kind of finalize that. And we hope to get that out, at least what the metric is. And then what we're going to do, Robert and John Germ have worked very hard to get Chris Elias from the Gates Foundation to be in Williamsburg. And so between him and Larry Lunsford, we're hoping to do something very special for district leadership.
So listen, I think this is critical. We recognize the last 2 or 3 years DDF. If you give 20% before you get there, I'm telling you, only one in the last 2 years, maybe two out of our 14, and like this one out of the 19 and 33 gave 20%. I'm convinced.
Didn't give.
Didn't give 20%.
Didn't give.
Didn't.
Almost
Okay.
everyone does it.
Recognized.
We had 2 out of 31 districts that did
2 out
not
of
give
31.
20%.
So, I don't know, out of 31 too. Okay. It was a big deal, I believe. So I asked Jeff to get with 33 and do something for the 1,500. And that would be when we get to there in Williamsburg, the DG this year. So we got to get that out pretty quick. And Dave, I think your point about making it per capita, it wouldn't be fair to ask a DG to pick his top 5 or whoever gets the most clubs giving to just pick an absolute number. Some of the districts in Florida have 40 clubs. Some of them in Georgia have 70. So it's different. But and they're going to be able to go home and say, let me tell you something. This Gates Foundation is really key to us getting rid of this thing. And they're real about it because I met and talked to Chris Elias, who's the top guy in Gates. I asked questions. He told me this. I met this guy personally. Meeting somebody personally, if you've been in politics, you know it's critical to say, wow, I met this guy. I think I'll vote for him. But anyway, I want to make you and your DG, your DRC, our job as APNCs is to make y'all succeed, help you succeed, help you look good. If you look good, we look good. And so we want you to do a great job. Anything you want to send Bruce before he sends a DDF letter out, or Jeff, is that you, yeah, Jeff? Anything before he sends out this recognition deal, it's going to be critical. Like Kim said, there. I just talked to John Padgett this morning. There is tons not nailed down, more than ever, polio events and recognition. And what did we do last year, Kim? We did a 0K walk, and you get a
That
donut.
was awesome. It was a 0K run, and everyone got dressed up and just kind of went across the finish line.
It
It was
fun.
hysterical.
Still worth
It's
the
fun, but
t-shirt.
recognize you for the job you're doing. And you better get a donut there, Dave. I think you need one. Don't you want a donut? Come on.
Robert, I think to take Bruce did a back of the napkin calculation a few weeks ago, and he determined that if every district in the world gave $1,500, we'd make the $50 million for Gates.
I figured that a long time ago, Bruce. You're a little slow.
That's right. I got that from Kim.
One
We
question.
appreciate Sue, Yvonne, hello, and Dave and Jan, and appreciate Ed and Charlie being on there with us. Charlie, is the EMGA. He raises the big, big bucks and stuff, right, Charlie?
Charlie,
Yeah.
you're on mute.
We're glad to have you on the call.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. And I just want to make sure everybody knows I certainly support the polio initiative.
Oh, Charlie's big time. And if you're going to Taipei, you'll see Charlie and Mary. He's in charge of all the sergeants over there. Big job, probably the most important job. But anyway, I'm glad Larry Lunsford's going to be with us. I'm glad Chris Elias will be with us. And it's going to be a big time deal. Well, only 175 people are registered as of this morning. You get your in by April 10th, you donate $26.50 of your registration be donated to polio.
And
Any
even
other-
if some of you that aren't on the call are not going to Williamsburg, tell people in your district to sign up before the 10th.
Okay, good point. Well, thank you, Kim, Sean, and Jeff and Bruce and all the participants here. Kim,
We do have a question.
Yeah,
If you want to
Hector's
kill
got
the
a question.
spotlight, if you want to kill the spotlight, you can kill the spotlight.
Yes,
Fine,
I
Sean.
have a question on the 5 clubs that that you want to get donating $1,500. Is that clubs that have not donated $1,500 or have not donated anything at all?
I
Either.
think those are two different objectives of incoming chair Jennifer. One, she wants to see 5 clubs that have never given give something this coming year, whether it be $10 a member or whatever. But by the same token, she'd love to see a district have 100% $1,500 clubs. But that's a super goal. The 5 clubs is kind of below that.
And look, everybody probably in this call has been a member of a club that was 100% polio. What is it? Paul Harris? Or what do we do? 100% club?
Right. Paul Harris Fellow Club.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm optimistic we'll get there. But Hector, thanks for that question. That's a really good question. Okay.
Hey, Jeff and Bruce, could you stick your email in the chat?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. So anything else, any ideas to how to reach? I will tell you this, we're about 14% ahead of last year. So things are going pretty well right now. But, the next 3 months is when a lot of it comes in. So I want to thank you for what you're already doing. We're going to have a good year. I know you'll help us do that. Any other questions, though? Okay, Kim, I think
Dave's in my Georgia zone. I'm your EPNC, Dave.
Hey, Dave, let me tell you.
I hear you, Bruce. And I've been trying to figure out what EPNC stands for.
And
polio
polio now
now.
coordinator.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Well,
You're
hey,
still getting
I've signed
those
up for
three.
Williamsburg, and I ran the 0K last summit, so I'm good. I'm on board.
It'd be
Dave,
20.
we got a class for you on 3 and 4 letter acronyms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
You call me anytime, Dave.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
call him.
So
He's got a motorhome that's the most beautiful thing in the world. He puts his Harley in this van in the back. It's painted the same thing as the van.
I
He's
know.
ready to rock and roll down to Warner Robin. Show him that.
Yeah,
Hey
yeah,
man, I got a Harley too, so we can go
yeah.
riding together.
I was going to ask Charlie if I gave it to him, could I get an AKS?
Hey, don't laugh.
Sue, in your
Rotary's been
district,
known
we
to take
also have
stuff.
an awesome district foundation chair that you'll be working with.
Oh, great. Super.
Yeah.
well, if you guys have any other questions, we put our emails in the chat.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So grab those up if you would. But I know we appreciate Sean for helping facilitate this. He is Johnny on top of everything and always helpful. So thank you, Sean, and all of you for your comments and helping us to share the word. Any questions, we're always happy to help. And thank you for joining us so much.